Hey guys, it's Trixie. Welcome to the underground. Okay. You know how I tell you about what's happening in my life? Well, I work every weekend, so not much. But I was in Danbury doing a home show. And I'm walking down, when we checked in the hotel, I'm walking down the hallway with my boss. And I said, this reminds me of The Shining. Okay? I don't know if that was like an omen or whatever, but my room was haunted. I know you're going to laugh at me. I've never been haunted, and maybe I wasn't, but it felt like I was haunted. I go in the room, I'm relaxing. Of course, after I shopped at the mall and spent $400 at LL Bean. But anyway, I'm leaning back on my bed, and I leaned forward, and the lights flickered. Okay, no problem. It's just some kind of weird fluke. Lean back, lean forward, clock goes out, lean back. I'm like texting my boss. I'm like, I'm haunted. I couldn't turn on the heat. Nothing worked. It was like so strange. And so I moved to another bed, okay? And that was okay. But still, every time I went over to the other side of the room, and then the lights went out totally and I couldn't get them back on. And my boss is like, well, it sounds like an electrical issue. Yeah, but like, according to Kim Russo, that's how it works. That's how it works. They mess with the electric. I take a shower the next morning. And then I leave the bathroom. All of a sudden, something falls to the ground. I mean, what? Are you kidding me? I should have fled. Something fell off the wall. I don't really know what it was, but when I went down to the desk, I'm like, you gave me the haunted room. And she's looking at me like I'm insane. I said, please don't give that room to anybody else, And she's like, I won't. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't scared, although I really thought maybe Jason Voorhees was going to, storm through the window with his... I don't know. Maybe I'm just flipping out because I'm working so much. I'm kind of starting to get addicted to it. I'm kind of have like that addictive personality where if I do something enough, then I want to do it all the time. Because I'm used to being laid back in the stores, having casual conversations instead of like crazy stuff with home shows. It's so nuts. And I'm starting to like the crazy. It's different people, different cities. I get to shop. Okay, let's go. I'm watching On Patrol Live last night, and what do you think? The city I was born in, Springfield, Mass, made it. I was like wondering, where's the Massachusetts crazy people? I know there are some. So it was like on the triple play, which means this person was totally crazy. She was a crackhead or a meth addict. I can't tell you which one. And it was on Belmont Avenue, which is where I used to work when I was in radio, partially. I worked in the ghetto of Longmeadow, too. We call it the ghetto. It's not a ghetto. It's a very rich area. But anyway, I know it's a bad street because I won't go down the street because the last time I was at a light, people were coming at you. They weren't just, how they have the homeless people with the signs at the lights? Well, they walk towards your car. I'm like, I'm not going to go through this. That's pretty aggressive. It was like San Francisco. So the woman was on crack. She's being chased by the police. Drives into Dunkin' Donuts, okay? The guy's got it on his iPhone camera and smashes into a car. Leaves, goes out the other way, goes back, smashes into a cop car. Backs into a cop car. Leaves, goes down to the intersection, which is crazy. They call it the X. She smashes into a wellness center. Twice. She hits about 10 cop cars. You guys, I don't know. If you can see this weekend's, I think it was Saturdays. It's on Friday and Saturday. Insane. When the car stopped after she smashed 50 times, the cop opened the door. He was like smashing her car with his baton. So the car door was open. She goes to leave again. The cop smashes into a truck and then falls to the ground. Unbelievable. Finally hits a tree. Finally stopped. Okay? I mean, I don't know what kind of... She injured a couple of cops herself. Hit 10 patrol cars. 10! When they said her name, it sounded familiar. So, listen to this one. I just read this last night. Human Resources begged their employees to donate their paid time off for a coworker on medical leave. You know what? That would be nice. But you know what? Why don't you do it? You own the company. Why don't you do it? Why doesn't the employer have, I think we have this here in Massachusetts, family medical leave. Like they take some out of your check. It's not a lot. It accrues. And if you have a sick mother or relative or whatever, family member, loved one, you take time off, it pays you up to 6 months. It's like maybe 2/3 of your pay. And you know what? People don't think like this. Republicans don't think like this. They don't. They don't care. But like this is why I like this state. I haven't used it. I don't want to use it. I don't want to be sick. And I just think that they should figure out some way, or the state, whatever. They shouldn't ask the poor employees who deserve that time off to do it. The woman was a loyal employee for 28 years. So yeah, something like that. Maybe the employer should figure something out. And we've got to figure out something for this. So I call it sick care system. Tesla stock down 39%. This year lost $700 billion. People are going to get mad at me. I got a message saying leave Elon alone. Well, if Trump would leave him alone, maybe he'd go back to normal. All his money is tied up in Tesla, and people are burning them to the ground. It started in Massachusetts, just like the Boston Tea Party. They started burning the charging stations. And let me tell you something. A lot of liberals own Teslas. I know somebody who owns... Do you ever drive in a Tesla? 0 to 100 in like maybe 1 to 2 seconds. It feels like you're in an airplane. I mean, a very nice car. I don't like those other ones that are like you can't... There's no windows or anything. That would feel very claustrophobic. But, you know, I really don't feel bad for Elon because he's cutting all these jobs. Maybe some of them need to be cut. But that chainsaw thing, I don't get into. Trump said he loved Teslers. He called them Teslers. He said he was going to buy one. He's like, oh, it's all computer. When's the last time he drove? He had the car dealership on a bunch of Teslas on the White House lawn. This is what it is now. I mean, anything he touches dies. Read the book. So I don't know what to say about this. The stupid reporter asked when he was talking to the Irish prime minister, he asked if why is he letting Rosie O'Donnell in the country because she fled, and she's like a little nervous for gay people, and which I get, and he's like, why are you letting Rosie O'Donnell in the country? And the guy's like, the prime minister's like, what are you talking about? Who are these people asking the questions? Oh yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. The same one who asked Zelensky why he's not wearing a suit. Boy, those are such tough, hard-nosed questions. Unbelievable. You know, I thought about moving to Canada, but I don't know. Is Trump going to make him the 51st state? I have no idea. There have been 11 recessions in the modern era. 10 of them begun when Republicans were president. What does that tell you? That they ruin it. Then the Democrats clean it up, and they blame the Democrats. Believe me, Trump will be blaming Biden, Hillary, Obama for the next 4 years. Or whenever he leaves. I'm not sure he's going to leave. 40% risk now of a recession. Yeah, I'm just thinking it's happening. The real rich aren't going to... You know, listen, I was in a rich area this weekend. These people were building. Nobody said... Well, maybe one or two. But the majority did not have problems with money. This lady... Listen to this lady. Oh... My boss pawned her off on me because he couldn't deal with her, and I'm good with problem women because I date them. And she's like, she needed a shower, and my boss couldn't handle it, so he hands her off to me. And she's like, she goes, I'll pay whatever it takes to get it working. And I said, you know, I asked them what their address is, and is the number on the house or is it on the mailbox? And she said, 15. And I said again, you know, nicely, is the number on the house or the mailbox? She said 15. She was going to punch me. 15. And so I was like, okay. And then she goes, can I go now? My driver's waiting for me. He has to pee. My driver, like Martha Stewart, my driver. She lived in New Greenwich. I'm telling you, the real rich, yes, they're very different. And you just have to, I'm good with dealing, I'm telling you, I'm good with dealing with people that are all over the place. Gavin Newsom had disheveled Steve Bannon on his podcast, and Steve said that Trump won the 2020 election. Gavin did not push back. They're starting to come down hard on Gavin. Of course, the right's going to like him. You can tell he's swinging to the right. He wants to be president. Finally, we'd have a hot president. I love it. But, you know, if I had Steve Bannon, I would thank him for being on the show, but I'd kind of be like Bill Maher. You know, I appreciate it. You got balls. But then... Bill Maher slams it to him, which they already know is going to happen. You don't really pander to people. I don't like, he is a politician, and I don't know. An ex-manager from Starbucks who was fired is suing Starbucks, saying coworkers harassed him because he's straight. The gays descended upon him. I don't know if this is true, but this guy is a wuss. He's a big old wussy pussy. He suffered physical, psychological damage over being straight. Really, you should see what we go through. I mean, candy ass. I don't know what to say. Then leave. You go to another Starbucks down the street, for crying out loud. Who cares? Like, every woman that's ever worked in a job has dealt with harassment. You know how many times I've been harassed in my life? Like, what a big... I don't know. I just don't know what to say. And you're lucky you're a straight white guy. I mean, it's not a bad place to be honest, especially now. In honor of Women's History Month, women are getting surgery to have young-looking vaginas. And wet ones? I don't think my vagina's old. It hasn't been used very often. I'm sure it's nice looking. I don't put it up to a mirror, but maybe I should. I'll tell you guys. I'm going to probably look at it later. Who knows? Companies are retreating from DEI, of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because Trump's ordering it, his executive order. He's also threatening jail time. I'm sorry. He's going to withhold federal money if they don't comply. Target, which was totally gay. I remember working next to a Target and all these flamers would walk out. I was like, geez, man. I mean, they were totally maybe overboard. But, it's not bad to like gay people or to hire them. I mean, and now we're going to go the other way where they don't hire queens. I mean, unbelievable. So what about straight people with purple hair? What about tattoos? Are they next? I don't know. But let me just give you a few companies that are stopping it. I mentioned Target, Amazon. They're continuing to kind of do it quietly behind the scenes, which is what you got to do with Trump. Yes, dear. Yeah, you know how a guy that's henpecked. Yes, dear. That's what you do with him. Pepsi. Well, I'm going to have a Coke. Have a Coke and a smile. Goldman Sachs, Salesforce. They caved. Women are going to suffer greatly because this is what we do get jobs because of affirmative action. And, I never worked for a big company, so it didn't apply. But I always made sure I made more than most men because I am kind of like a guy. I hate to say it, but I like to get more money. And, I remember talking to a guy who worked at a bakery, and he goes, I want stock. I want shares. And I'm like, who thinks that? I didn't think like that back then in my 20s. And so I started to learn from men what they did, Also, Goldman Sachs forced IPO clients to include women and minorities on their board of directors. Forced. I mean, I don't really like the word forced. I mean, I think that they should look, and if the person's qualified, which I'm sure they could find. I mean, I don't really like forcing people. It seems like, why does it have to get to that level? Google and Target not only supported gays, but they were helping black employees build meaningful careers and promoting black-owned businesses. I mean, that's not bad. Again, it's helping. So, as long as you don't go too far. And I think that's how we do it. We swing. It's not healthy. Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, he caved a long time ago. Amazon halting some DEI. I'm still getting the boxes delivered I'm sorry, I'm still doing it. McDonald's, them too. That's not good. I mean, they had people achieving diversity and at senior leadership levels. They were trying to help people get to the management and higher levels. There's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, I never worked at McDonald's. Walmart. Would not sell products. They agreed to not sell products aimed at gay youth. Everybody's got a problem with you can't make a kid gay. I'm sorry, but whatever. Ford is not publicly commenting. So I guess that's a start. Not publicly commenting on polarizing issues. Lowe's has stopped sponsoring festivals like Gay Pride and Harley Davidson. Well, I really don't expect anything from Harley Davidson. Okay. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, guys. PK and Dorit came face-to-face for the first time about those emails he sent to her. Greeted her with a kiss. Maybe like the mafia, the kiss of death. He said one of their issues in their marriage were control. That's not an issue for me. But I'm not going to date you, PK. When they were separating, she was trying to dictate where he was going to live. I love it. Nothing wrong with that. A woman that's controlling. She asked him what prompted that 8-page email that threw her off her game. PK said it was a summary of how she made him feel and what life would look like if they got divorced. It looks like they're on that way. She asked him point blank, did he want a divorce? And he said, this is what ends the marriage. Dorit brings out the worst in him. Okay, when you start talking like that, like I have two friends that there's no way they're coming back because the more time they don't speak or they threaten the cops, I mean, it's just not good. It's War of the Roses. That's what I call them, the Roses. He's saying we have to co-parent. You're my best effing mate. They need to be friends. Definitely. So he called her his best mate. That's nice. PK, I don't know if we are getting divorced. We need to be friends. You know, that's kind of like how you start the relationship. I was told recently by a woman, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I only date people I hate. Dorit seemed to want to work it out. He seemed not to. She looks like she wants to get back. She seems more needy, like she needs a man. Maurice and Kyle also spoke about that airport kiss, and she's also giving interviews, that girl. She wants fame, you can tell. She doesn't love him, especially now that he was in the hospital with a broken clavicle. Forget it. No woman's going to stand by you unless they love you, Maurice. He seemed nonchalant about partying, and then there was dead silence, which was awkward. Then they brought up the airport photo, but at least you know they're friends. They care about one another, so I think they're going to be okay. He said, I'd never want to hurt you or the kids. I wouldn't do that on purpose. Maybe subconsciously because she's with a woman. That kind of freaks out a guy. But then again, you can't compete with a woman, so I wouldn't worry. If I lost my wife or my girlfriend to a man, I don't have a penis, so what am I going to do about it? She cried. He held her. She knows divorce is coming. It's mourning. It's grieving, and then you're going to be okay. It ended with the women taking a trip to St. Lucia. Jennifer Tilly was talking about never sharing a bed with Sutton, but then sitting next to her on the plane where Sutton would just be sleeping and then she starts screaming. What the hell? She's nuts. Kathy Hilton was unpacking 150 bags of lotion and perfume. She is nuts. Jennifer Tilly spilled her candy all over her suitcase. That's something I would do. Although I quit chocolate. I don't know if it's for Lent or just for good. When I went shopping and I'm like looking at my body in the mirror, I'm like, are you kidding me? No one's going to see this. Said she needed it after one of their terrifying dinners. That's so funny. She wanted them all to be a girl gang, but finds them intimidating in a clique. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like the bad girls at school. Jennifer Tilly said when she was talking about growing up from the 60s, she said she was a hippie chick, tried to fit in with the popular girls, but she never took a bath. Okay, I always took showers. I don't know what that's about. What that's about. Jeez, tongue, come back. Or she said not too often. Next week, they all gang up on Sutton. Erica says you pose as a friend, but act like an enemy. Dorit, you give it, but you can't take it, she says to Sutton. Jennifer Tilly, guzzling booze to try to deal with it. Jennifer Tilly is the best. Do not take her off the show. I know the girls don't like her. Listen, guys, that's all I got for you today. I don't know if I'm going to go to Foxborough next weekend, but happy St. Patrick's Day for all it's worth. I'm in blue. I'm not in green. There's not a speck of Irish in me. And I'm sorry, I look terrible in green. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. Subscribe. Love ya. See you next week.